You have delivered us hot, fresh garbage this week. I feel bad because you continue to be the one that delivers the garbage, which is hot and fresh. But whatever. Few things. Why don't you take it away on... And it's on the screen right now. This... I love how it was in cemetery porn, by the way. Very nice. Very nice. But it's basically a polio victim in their tombstone, right? So take it away. What jogs your memory on this one? Anti-Vaxxers are scum, but why don't you take it away?
Well, no, I just came across this post, and it's funny to me because, well, so, the epitaph on the stone reads, "Dear Lord, please let me be the last polio victim. Amen."
Huge part of it. True.
For sure. So this man obviously did not die fast of polio, but he did die to some extent of polio because there's a picture on his tombstone as well. And this man was clearly physically disabled for probably most of his entire life due to polio.
It looks like it in the picture, but to be fair, I don't know the context.
Yeah.
I know it took lives early, but clearly it also took lives in every stage too. But go ahead.
Well, I think it's more the sentiment of polio was a burden. This man did not die
100%.
directly of polio, but the scars of polio was something he had to be burdened with for the rest of his life. So I think that's sort of
is what it's saying.
the sentiment in that direction.
I was just saying, that picture makes me think, because I know polio affected, paralysis and stuff. Just wondering if him having to use canes later on in life.
Oh, for sure is.
Stems from that, but also he's old. Old people also just do use canes, even if you didn't. So, but it feels that way, right? With the picture.
Right. The way that it's all folded into the headstone, I suppose you're right there.
Right. Also, God bless this man. He died right before COVID hit. So, that's a full life. That's a beautiful life. Honestly, no pandemics in my life. Spanish flu was 19 before 35, I think. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. So it's just funny because I sort of scrolled past this, and in my mind, this is a sentiment that should be apolitical, right? This guy died,
right? And
he clearly was a victim early in his life of polio, before the polio vaccine was sort of widely distributed,
right?
And that was a burden he carried. And in this year of our Lord 2025, a post like this could be seen as political, it feels like, especially in light of the most recent administration.
Anecdotally, in my life, I feel like people have told me that the COVID vaccine and the beginning of life vaccines are different and separate. But I do think that just, my life is just my life. I do think that overall sentiment, with a growing number of people, this is political. Which is sad because, this guy actually got it, had a hard time, and went out of his way. I mean, choosing to write something on your tombstone, I'm not going to make it a humongous deal, but it's a deal, right? At the very least. So to choose to say this,
right,
and to have the vaccine be so effective, that to have it be a political statement is where I agree with Nord here, where it's just you're a smooth brain.
Well, this should right. In my mind, this should be apolitical, right? The idea that polio was something that afflicted humanity, and we found a way to sort of route that disease.
It's just like measles. It
should have been an apolitical movement, and I do think you're right. I think a lot of people who are anti-vax don't necessarily have an issue with the polio vaccine, but to me, it's like two heads of the same coin, right? You pull on, to me, I understand that COVID was the mRNA vaccine shot was new tech. It was a different way of delivering an immune response. It's a different vaccine. But to me,
listen,
pulling the thread and saying that is this malicious intent of harming the population or whatever.
This is why the fact that we have this conversation and post it to the internet, these people are just going to be like, you guys are stupid. The COVID vaccine is bad. It's okay. It's like, oh, it gives you heart whatevers. It's like, dude, you also know COVID also gave you those heart whatevers to like 10x. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, and it's crazy because you post that Jubilee thing, which I think is the next thing on here, but let's all blend it together here. And I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing maybe a YouTube short or something, and it was just like, it was something to the effect of, or maybe I didn't see it there, but it was something to the effect of like, no doctor, nobody's ever claimed that vaccines are like 100% safe. It's like, but how don't you understand that like you could be in a situation where if you actually got a disease, you have a 50% likelihood of dying. If you had a vaccine before, now you only have a 5%. Like, can you do that math? Doesn't feel like you can, because that's exactly what it is. Now, that's an exaggerated degree, but you know what I mean.
Well, we're victims of our own success. I think that is... It's crazy that
was
is
here
something
somewhere,
that...
right? Where did you see that? It was here somewhere.
What's that?
We're victims of our own success. Wasn't that a quote from something?
Oh, no. Well, the quote I have here is vaccines work so well that we forgot what the world...
Yes. Right.
What the world looks without them, which is so fucking true. Like, we are so privileged with the immunity that we've worked really fucking hard for to give ourselves.
It's crazy.
We've completely fallen short of understanding the world that we came from and why there was such a big push to develop vaccines.
True. And listen, we're posting this on the internet, so there's going to be such a good amount of people that are like, you guys are stupid as fuck. Vaccines don't work. Whatever. So let's play this game. How would you... No, let me ask you this, and I'll try to think of it too. How would you approach... Oh, I didn't even know you said. If it was a joke, I apologize. I missed it. But how would you approach someone who is actually, truly anti-vax? How would you approach that conversation? Like, is there anything you could do to kind of... not even make them change their mind, but even just to have them, like, understand your point of view? Like, what would you do? I think.
I mean, it depends on the temperament of the person.
It's tough, right?
That is.
But if we try to keep
like,
it the same,
you can emphasize that up. I mean, one angle you can come at it from is.
It's tough, dude.
I mean, just the idea that 100 years ago, people had to have like 10 kids to have 5 get to adulthood. Right, like, is definitely very compelling.
I agree.
Because everybody understands that that's why families were so big 100 years ago. Was because it was a crap shot. It was like, it was buckshot. Right. You know, what actually catches and which kids are just going to fucking fall off the wayside. Like, that was genuinely part of the calculation. I don't know. What would you go with?
My approach would be most things that where I have like disagreement with some. If I would have disagreement with someone on a topic, it would be the same approach, including this, where it would be just like trying to ask them questions in a way that really makes them think about any other perspective. So, like, I guess for this, I would say, you know, vaccines were introduced, and we can literally, like, historically look at things. We could even Google it right now. Now, they might say, I don't believe this and I don't believe that, but we could do some research together right now that would show us that polio, that measles were like dangerous and like bad things that were very much mostly eradicated with vaccines. And I would just try to challenge them on why it is that it went away with vaccines, and now that we're getting a little more anti-vax, we see them again. Like, is there any... Like, do they process that? But you have to ask it in a formal question, right? You have to be like, you know, I don't even know if it would work, but I'm just thinking in my head, like, what do you say to that? Like, do you accept that? Because I think sometimes, I'm never interested in debate. I think debate's a waste of time. But I do still even think when you treat people with kid gloves and try to ask them questions to make them challenge their beliefs, you still, like, even can have a situation where someone's like, well, nothing could change my mind. Then it's just like, well, it doesn't matter. But... for the most part, you could kind of ask questions to get them to just see another perspective, to put it really
So I feel like most people are logical. So if you can ask questions
in their own way,
that sort of pierce the logic that they're working with. Like, I remember a buddy of mine, shortly after the 2020 election, him and I were hanging out, and I hadn't seen this guy in maybe a couple years. So I didn't know... Like I knew it was like 2021, I want to say.
Sure, but it was still
So
after the
shortly
2020
after
election. Yeah,
Biden,
yeah, yeah.
right? Yep. So anyway, so I knew that he had leaned conservative. I didn't know exactly. I just didn't know. So we're hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings up January 6th. And I remember saying something to the effect of like, I can't believe those fucking knuckle draggers broke into the Capitol building, blah blah blah. And like he's sort of quiet for a little bit, and he goes, "Well, I don't know, there definitely were some weird things about that election." And I'm like, "Wait, oh." Like I totally misunderstood the angle that he was coming from.
Yeah, and
Like
it's
he
tough when
clearly was
you would have used a different tone for what you said, right?
for
If you knew.
sure.
Yeah.
For
Oh
sure.
yeah.
So,
Definitely,
so,
dude.
but anyways, long
Mm.
story short, one of the questions I asked him was like, "Do you think?" So I'm like, So you think 2020 was stolen?" And he goes, "Yes." And I go, "Well, do you think there were like any legitimate elections before 2020?" And he goes, "No." And then
Oh,
he sort of
that's
thinks for
tough.
a minute. Well, he thinks for a minute because then he
Ooh.
realizes he just invalidated the 2016 Trump win if he calls them all
Oh,
fucking
see, you
bullshit.
asked the right questions. That's what you got to
And we kind
do.
of just
Yep.
I kind of just moved away from the conversation after that because I knew that like there wasn't a lot to be
People can
gained
get triggered
from.
too. Right. People could get really mad.
Well, I hadn't seen him in a while, and I didn't want to get into all that
Dude, no
bullshit. I
question,
just,
dude. We're opinionated, but we're not preachy. Go ahead.
right. But pulling on that
Yeah.
thread, I saw him sort of like gears turn a little bit, and then I just left it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that that's the only way you can sort of pull people out of rabbit holes like this is just sort of poke at the internal
Right.
logic of the thing that they believe in, just a little
But you
bit,
have
just
to do it in a
cut
way
it.
that's disarming, and I feel like just trying to, if you can ask the
Yeah,
right questions, you can get
yeah,
anyone. But
I think that's right.
anyone
Yeah.
that is willing to tell you that there might be a way to change their mind. If there's no way to change someone's mind, then just ask them how their weekend went and if the kids are great. Like besides that, it's not gonna work.
Sure,
Dude.
sure.
It's not
Sure,
gonna work.
right. Because
Like,
at the end of the day, we're friends, and like, I'm not
yeah.
gonna alienate you over whatever this disagreement is. But I gotta poke a little. I wouldn't be doing my job as a friend if I didn't poke a little bit. And I'd expect them to do the same for me. I did put a little piece down here below it too.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Where I said this to me is related to Musk and his gutting of the government and its services. We've forgotten the people that get left behind or neglected without these services.
This
They
is
worked
true.
well and quietly in the background. That
But
we
here's
take
the
them
thing.
for granted. Which
Can I say something? Let's see what you think about this. What you just read.
yeah, go ahead.
It's a correct. All these statements are correct, but I think they're correct insofar as people actually don't care. Like you could tell like the biggest MAGA, like, oh, people are gonna get neglected, and like, dude, a lot of MAGAs are hateful as fuck, bro. I'm not even gonna apologize. You people are weird. So it's just like they might not care. But the reason people should care and why the statement is correct is because when you destabilize society, I don't give a fuck if you live in a wealthy enclave. Like if you destabilize society, then crime increasing is coming to a neighborhood near you. Like if people don't have opportunity, if your inequality is shit, if you're tariffing so that even the one part of society that works, which is wealth creation, which doesn't trickle down, we all know that. But if all these things are happening, like it's going to get bad. And people who think like, well, I don't give a fuck if people aren't going to get services, like, well, this is what helps keep people afloat and not do like crime and like bullshit. So I'm just saying, man, like I'm not trying to be alarmist. I don't think we need to be alarmist, but when you destabilize society, like crime is coming to a town near you. It just is.
I mean, I 100% agree.
Right. So when I think of the way that people say you could get a lot of MAGAs that are like, well, I don't give a fuck if we're like neglecting people without or cutting services because like fuck welfare, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, but yeah, bullshit's coming. So
Bullshit
that's why
is
they
for
should
sure
care,
coming.
but they don't.
And it is tough because I feel like, and again, like, listen,
Yeah.
Bill Clinton spent, I think, 6 years of his tenure reducing jobs in the federal government. That's not to say that this can't be a good thing. It's not to say that there isn't bloat. There aren't jobs that could probably be left behind, and nothing critical would be impacted. But
I'm with you. I want to be clear about bloat, but keep going.
This is not. It's so obvious that this is not what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing.
This is garbage. No,
they are blindly swiping at bags of money not understanding what they're tied to. And I do think that, again, like there are a lot of odds and ends that the government does. Maybe not super effectively, but they at least
No, it's
ensure that people don't fall through the cracks with these
right.
little odds and ends.
I
One
understand
of
when
the
you say not
things
super effective, but to qualify it does suck. But like because it works to an extent. But go ahead, I get it.
But again, like the
I get
government,
it,
listen, okay, we can ask for efficiency and we can
and
ask
we should.
for affordability from the government, and we
I don't
should.
know about the
But if I,
affordability part. It depends. But go ahead.
well, relatively speaking, like depends on what's
Sure. Relatively speaking,
happening.
correct. Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
But to me, like to expect, it's like the USPS and people wanting to take an axe to it. You shouldn't expect something to be profitable if it's a service that's being provided
No. Right.
by
Yeah, of
a
course.
public fund. You should
Right.
just expect it to be able to allow equal access to everyone and not
And
be
deliver
just a black hole
deliver a
of money.
service. Deliver a
Correct.
service, especially
Yeah.
to those who are so rural, even to this day, that like
Right.
the USPS somewhat matters to them. There's people that exist out there for sure. You know.
Like to ask them to be profitable, like, dude, would you ask
No, but
fire
right.
department to be profitable? No,
Right,
you
it's-
wouldn't,
right.
because that's not our concern, right? Like, we understand that there are trade-offs to these things. So, I don't know. To me, this was a similar sentiment where it feels like there's a good chunk of the population that's used to the quality of life. A lot of it, which is underpinned by like government services sort of guaranteeing certain things. And now we just want to take a chainsaw to all of it. But like you're going to feel the ripple effect of these government workers not providing their niche sort of service. And it's the same thing with vaccines. Like we're so like privileged with the society with, decades of vaccines working very well that we're like, well, are they poisonous? Like the fact that we can even ask that question means that we're privileged because we know they're not poisonous. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it was a bit of a stretch.
So
to
this
connect
has
these two
happened
things,
throughout
but-
history all the time, right? Where the arc of in the vein of, oh, we fought, we won, we grow, but then we get fat, we get complacent, we collapse. Like empires. But I'm not trying to just say empires, but like there's so many things in life that happen that way. So I guess in hindsight, which come on, hindsight is whatever. I didn't know it at the time, but with hindsight, it's like, yeah, maybe we should have known that something like a vaccine would be so effective and get people in such a good place. And then you combine the internet era, maybe it was always inevitable that we get here to where people just have it too good, man. They have it too good and they're trying to find their purpose. And like, that's fine. But if your purpose is going to destroy like medical advancements, we reject that. We reject that.
But your purpose, finding that purpose is insulated by a bunch of institutions just quietly working in the background. And doing their fucking job.
The amount of memes I've seen, especially in the last week, especially Thursday and Friday, of like Biden miss me yet, Kamala, like told you so. It's just like the same vein. But yeah. They were pretty massively hated. And I still, as a leftist, in hindsight, still tend to lean towards agreeing with you, where like Biden could have done more and he didn't, and I don't like that. But like, boy, when you compare it to this, and we'll see moving forward, but it's not going to get better. You wouldn't think. You just told me what the futures were. I feel like I still don't like. I still think Biden should have. Two things are true. I still think Biden should have done more. But yeah, I can kind of appreciate what he did and what Democrats do silently working in the background to an extent. Do you feel that or no? To an extent, I do, man. It's like you just wake up every day. And I don't follow the news as much in the Trump era as both because I don't like waking up every day and reading bullshit. But like that's what it is. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the part of the problem is we're so far off the track that like, listen, Biden did a lot of good things in investing our economy and building jobs here. That just went underappreciated because things are so bad already. And unless you're ready to genuinely shake up and restructure the system, you're not.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. True.
Right? Like, they don't have the patience for it.
When I say he should have done more, I mean it's not that, because it wasn't him that killed the minimum wage in the reconciliation bill. I think it was like Kristen Sinema, and then she did a little curtsy. You remember that shit? Anyways. So it's not that, like,
I don't remember
because they didn't have
curtsy,
60 votes. Yeah, she did some fucking curtsy after she killed the 15 minimum wage federal. Whatever. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. Who gives a shit? We're misinformation too. We don't give a fuck. Anyways.
Well, no, hang on. You don't, hang on now.
I'm not saying, when I say that, I'm not saying that, like, he could have done more legislatively. I always mean that, like, dude, if you're going to represent the people and there's injustices happening, you have to have enough energy to get out there. Bernie is still getting out there on a tour. You just want to see more of that. That's good. So that's what I mean by do more. And that's where, like, Biden's age kills us, and as leftists specifically, not necessarily liberals, we're both just like, dude, Biden, fucking kind of, not whatever, dude, not good. It's just like you hesitate to give him praise. You just do. Because, is it, again, and I've told you this too, like, it's a little bit our fault as an electorate, even in the Democratic Party, which primaries get tricky, but he won, so it sucks in that way, but because it should have been someone younger who can get out there, who can tour. I might not agree with AOC on everything, but I agree with her on a hell of a lot of things. So her getting out touring, like, that's a nice future, I think. But yeah, we just need more politicians doing that. It's so stupid. They just kind of sit there and go ahead.
Well, the true future of politics in this country, if we want to see a return of democracy at all, is somebody that is going to primarily campaign on ending Citizens United, ending gerrymandering, widening access to voting, like, there's ending, like, the endless political campaigning we do. Canada keeps it to 3 months. 3 months for campaigning.
No, I know.
Why can't we
most
do this
Western
in this
countries
country?
do. Most Western countries
we
do.
spend
No.
half hour, like, especially when you're talking about representatives in the House, they have 2 years, right? You have a 2-year tenure. You're spending half your tenure campaigning for your next election. That's such a fucking waste of time and effort.
No doubt.
Sorry,
no doubt.
carry on.
No doubt. Yeah, I don't. I feel like the only people kind of campaigning for that are the same people who are, doing like a fight oligarchy tour. The rest don't give a shit. But whatever.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
But yeah, you gotta sell it. You gotta sell it. You gotta get out there and sell it. So that's what I get mad at people like Biden for. It's like you never got out there and sold it. You just kind of like, oh, I won my election. Now we're just gonna like dilly dally behind the scenes and figure shit out. But like you can. But if popular things weren't getting done and you weren't out there selling them, just don't like it. Gotta sell it, baby. Gotta fucking sell it. Hard to sell when you're 76, 77, 78 years old. Yeah.
We need such a large course correction that somebody like Joe Biden's not going to be able to do that. Somebody like Bernie Sanders could. Somebody like AOC potentially could. But like when you're talking about somebody that's working a full-time hours at a retail job and they can hardly pay rent. Like Joe Biden building a chips manufacturing plant in Ohio has nothing to do with that first person. Absolutely nothing. So we just need a large course correction, right? There's so many systemic failures from somebody that's working 40 hours a week at a retail job and they can hardly pay rent. And they're not married, right? Like, let's say they have no roommates, they're not married, and they're living in some, suburban
Give me that
setting in a
accelerationism.
rental. I'm just saying, we're so far down the hole that, like, Joe Biden's not going to offer the course correction that's necessary. Neither is Donald Trump, but see 4 years of Biden...
And we ramble when we love to do it here, but like I said, don't you feel that little bit more appreciation for Biden? No, it should have been better, but... All right, let's read some of these comments that you put in here real quick.
Go ahead. On the polio one?
Yeah. This is cemetery porn, not some political site. Keep all you BS to yourself and appreciate the sentiment of the stone. So I'm not going to lie. They had me in the first half because when I saw, like, this is cemetery porn, not some political site, keep all you BS to yourself, I thought this was going to be an anti-vaxxer. I thought it was. And then they said, appreciate the sentiment of the stone. So we love them. They had us in the first half, though.
Wait, what do you mean? You've completely lost me.
The 3 days ago? This is cemetery porn, not some political site.
Yeah.
Keep
Why is it
all you
political?
BS to yourself.
Why is it political? Why is it political?
It's not political. I agree with you on that.
Correct.
But people make it. But I'm going off the fact that people do make it. No, I agree with you.
Oh, you think this is a response to other people in the comments section?
No, I think this is a response to society where we know there's a lot of anti-vaxxers, and it is what it is. It is what it is.
Oh, we've both completely misinterpreted this.
What is this?
Comment.
Okay, how do you interpret this? What?
I thought this is a response to the person posting a picture of the headstone.
It is. They say they appreciate the sentiment of the stone. That means they're pro-vax. What's happening? They said they appreciate the sentiment of the stone. Oh, we got them. Nobody listens to us, but we got them. Folks out there, we got them. No? Okay, go ahead. Tell me what you think. No, that's fine. Just tell me what you think.
In my mind, somebody posted a picture of, Mr. William Wallace. William Wallace? No.
Bolin William Wallace.
Bolin.
Right.
Bolin's
that's true. You're right. Yep, you got it. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, so October, blah, blah, blah. Dear Lord, let me be the last political victim. In my mind,
polio victim,
this
not
is
political,
a response to... Did I say political?
You did. It's fine, keep going.
We're all political victims. This is cemetery porn. So I thought this is responding to the person who posted this. This is cemetery porn, not some political site.
But it says appreciate the sentiment of the stone. Doesn't that confuse you, though? That doesn't confuse you? Appreciate the sentiment.
So who is he talking to about not some political site, keep all your BS to yourself? What do you think he's saying?
I think they're saying what you're saying, where it's like this shouldn't be political. I think they're saying that it shouldn't be political, but they understand that it is because people are smooth brains, and they say, hey, but I appreciate the sentiment of the stone at the end of the day, which is, let me be the last polio victim. No? All right, anyways, we're moving on. But this was an interesting discussion here. All right.
Well, it shows you how much the written format fails to capture.
Also, the amount of times I say smooth brain, the true smooth brains say smooth brain all the time. Think about it. Oh, boy. Anyways.
God bless.
God bless.
Don't speak bad about us.
I'm in tears. I don't even mind that it's a death cult, but to lie and worse, believe than share what they're told is a too blight on us all. Is that they're against anti-vaxxers, right? They are pro-vax. That sounds like.
No. Dude, what is happening? What is happening?
You think so? Oh, because you sorted by controversial.
These people are responding to the post. I don't know what you think they're responding to. These are top comments.
But at least don't make me feel crazy though. At least they tell me that it's tricky because they're not specific. Look, listen, let me read this again. I'm in tears. I don't even mind that it's a death cult. That could apply to both sides. It could be like anti-vaxxers thinking that pro-vaxxers are a death cult.
The vaxxers.
But it could also mean pro-vaxxers think anti-vaxxers are a death cult. Why wouldn't pro-vaxxers... Okay, go ahead.
But to lie and worse believe, then share what they're told. Responding to the person who
you know what? I kind of agree with you because both of these are written like morons. So I don't even. They must be. You know what I'm saying? I actually agree with you because that's actually fair.
I guess my point was these comments aren't necessarily like super relevant, but man, I'm a little upset about that first one because that was the one that sort of kicked off my mind running about this post. But regardless,
so tell me your mind though, real quick. So if we take that in the way that you were, where it's more anti-vax sentiment,
where did that saying, hey, don't post this headstone. This isn't a political sub. Keep your BS to yourself and appreciate the sentiments of the stone, right? Like not necessarily this stone, but the idea of a headstone in general. He's saying this isn't a political sub, basically.
Yeah, because I forgot you sorted by controversial.
I
feel like you're right now. Yeah.
I did do that. Yeah, I did do that.
This is mad vague, though. You could actually read it.
No, you're right. You're right.
You don't think a lot of pro-vaxxers, if you ask them if anti-vax is a death cult, they would be like, yeah, there's going to be deaths from being anti-vax. So, like, yeah, kind of is.
Okay, but
kind of
then
is.
share what they're told, right? He's
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. I'm just telling you that it feels general to save my ass, but maybe I'm stupid. Hey, listen, this is what it is.
No, you're right.
All right, so the last one here is this sub is much more boring than its name. I was hoping for porn filmed in a cemetery. That's great.
Incredible.
That's got to be on every single post in the sub. That's crazy.
I threw that in just because that was fucking hilarious.
That's awesome.
Because this guy, the fact that this guy came across it on his just like all feed and he thought it was a subreddit completely dedicated to pornos in a cemetery. That made me chuckle. So there you go.
All right, let's.
I guess just to surmise these two comments, the fact that this sentiment could even be described as political is part of the problem. But we can move past it.
No, I know. If you think that vaccines are political, you're wrong. You're just wrong. Like, but look, here's the thing.
Yeah, it's just upsetting to me.
People don't just go on the way that me and you tick. At least not in every way. No two people are the same. But a way that me and you are similar is that, like, we want to see proof and evidence. But not everyone ticks like that, man. You can say there's so much proof and evidence for vaccines, and that's facts, bro. But people don't care. They do not care. And then you kind of get caught up in believing what you believe. We've talked about this many times before, but I'll bring it up one more time before we move on. Back in the day, if you had kind of crazy views, but you lived in a small town, didn't really have anyone to connect with, you get on the internet, you can connect with whatever the fuck, man.
This is true.
I mean, you can probably still, I remember seeing this thing back in the day, and it's probably still true now, where you can find child porn not that hard. It's gross. I'm just saying, like, there's ways to just, like, be super gross so easily. We hope they're cracking down on all those people looking up weird shit, but not the free speech stuff. We support free speech. If you want to be a smooth brain, you still have the right to be a smooth brain. But
well, sure.
Yeah, it's just easier to make those connections and gas up your mental health issues, let's call them. Let's be nice, you know? Anyways. Yeah.
Hey, don't be a dickhead.
No, that's being nice. What do you want me to... I could call these people...
That's what I'm saying. Be nice.
Complete fucking idiots, or I can say, like, they have mental challenges. I feel like that's nicer to say that, but... Okay.
Right, don't be a dickhead.
Sure. I mean, either way it is.
I do think, in a weird way, what we've been talking about bleeds into point 3 here, if I may.
Go ahead, yeah. Wow,
because in my mind, a lot of these people who are very skeptical of just quote unquote like institutions and the media, who tend to fall under that right-wing sphere these days at least. This comment sort of surmises this person. This is how these people are going to divorce themselves, I think, from, if things go as they have been, from working class MAGAs. So this was a video.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
This is a video of Trump's Liberation Day. This was the comment underneath it on YouTube, and it's just this very diligent comment about, like, I've been keeping track of prices, right? Like, and the way this reads, this person is a MAGA, as far as I can tell.
Here it is.
But they are also they're very diligent about keeping track of. So this guy goes, price of Eggland's best 18 count on December 2nd, 2024 was $5.12 at my local Walmart now. At my local Walmart, now $7.76. I know these prices are correct because I keep price lists on my bulletin board because I don't trust the internet to get me the right information.
This person is autistic, but also, like, in the right way because I don't trust the internet either.
Right. Yes. This person goes, I know what my lived experiences is.
Right.
I'm going to write those down when I can go home.
I don't blame him.
Chuck roast 3.73 pounds because I don't trust the internet, right, in the next sentence to give me the right information. So they've doubled down on that. Chuck roast, oh no, that's me being
No, you're
dumb
good. You're a
reading
smooth brain, but keep going. Keep going.
Chuck roast 3.73 pounds, $15.74 on December 2nd, 2024 is now $16.80. No period. Kraft cheese slices and milk both went down in price by a few cents. There we go. That's a positive for Trump.
Yeah.
The average cost of groceries, like meats other than bacon, all have gone up in price. Not a positive for Trump. I won't even buy a chuck roast anymore because it is over $30, which let's keep in mind. Back here they said it was $15.74. Groceries other than milk and cheese have all gone up in price. Beef is outrageous, expensive to the point we are only eating chicken and fish, which are both really expensive. And he goes on just about, he says England best, which, you know, he said England best earlier, so I assume that's what he means. But, like, this is a MAGA voter, right, who's been sucked into the idea, as far as I can tell, that Trump is actually going to bring down prices. But this is also a MAGA voter who is keeping very diligent notes about their lived experience.
None of this is pro-Trump.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough to tell.
Because, like, they say England best did not come down 50%. I didn't watch this garbage conference. I'm not going to... Did he, like, reference deflated things? Is that why they're saying England best did not come down 50%? It's because they said that it did? And they say that it went up 40%, obviously. But, like, I don't understand that. Did not come down 50%.
The entire comment section was like...
That's a lot of cancer.
Pro-MAGA people,
It was. It's a lot of cancer. Just get rid of the damned IRS already. Okay, sure it did. Keep our dollars in-house. Fair is fair. Too much foreign aid. We need domestic aid. Actually, don't totally disagree with that sentiment, but whatever.
There was something about the sentiment of this comment in the greater context of... I don't know that this person is, but it seems like they are.
It does feel like they're
because they do give Trump some credit in here, but then they're like 48%.
How?
Blah, blah, blah.
I don't see anywhere besides like, oh, bacon didn't go up, but everything else did. It's still like, not a negative.
Eggland's best have gone down since a month ago when they were $9.49 something, like almost $10. Now they're almost $8. So eggs have gone down, but they are still 48.66%.
Right. But they still end with a negative sentiment, so I don't know. I do agree with you that you still can't surmise whether it is or not. You can't surmise whether it is or not because, like, prices have been bad. So, like, you would think there's a good chunk of, not MAGA, but people who voted for Trump who are like, yeah, this isn't good. And there is. I think there is.
Yes. The practical working-class Trump voter who, for some reason...
Who's not a MAGA.
Like
you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, sorry.
No, they are MAGA, and they're not going to be much longer.
That's fine.
If this actually holds.
Depends on how you define MAGA. I feel like I define MAGA like.
So let me.
MAGA means people who are in the cult and he can do no wrong. So if you're finding people who are criticizing him, I don't think they're MAGA.
But I do, because here's the thing.
Okay. You're saying both things. Yeah, go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying. Okay, so these are people who are, I think, would consider themselves like quote unquote hardcore MAGA, right? Like just.
But they're criticizing him, so I don't put them in my category. That's fine. We all have our own, but I don't.
Right. This is what I'm saying is going to break the fever of the pro-Trump working class voter. Because when he won his first term from 16 to 20, he had a great economy save for COVID. But now, he's clearly not been able to bring prices down. They've kind of come down a little bit, but now he's slapping tariffs down.
We'll see. I saw some... And look, you might be right, but we have to see. I saw some freaking video today where a whole bunch of different people from his cabinet were on Sunday shows trying to, like, trying to be positive after, like, the Thursday and Friday that we had. So, I don't know. People still drink the Kool-Aid, it feels like.
No.
I mean, and look, and that's just people on TV, so that's way different than your average voter. Two things. A, I think it's going to take time. Like, if he is really making a huge fucking mistake, which I think he is, but if he is, it's going to take time to really, like, get into people feeling that. And two, like, these people just absolutely, like, I've never seen what it'll take to quit. I'm talking about the diehards, baby. Not people who will talk about that prices are up. People who would even be like, you know, so like Benny Johnson. Let me find this. What did he say the other day?
This is why Biden lost, though,
because he said something like,
sorry, Kamala,
and it's like comical because he would never say this about,
Oh yes, I remember.
Nobody
think
ever
I
had
saw
their
something like
nobody ever had their net worth carved on their tombstones. It doesn't even matter when you're a deathbed. Who cares? And he also tweeted like, losing money costs you absolutely nothing. Just shameless things that he would never say when a Democrat is president and crashes the economy. Just absolutely shameless. You laugh, but like it's like you're right to laugh because it's just like it's brazenly shameless. Like like this is like
Yeah.
if I ever got to talk to someone like a Benny Johnson in good faith, which would never happen, even if I did get to talk to him, these people don't do good faith. I would be like, do you actually understand that you treat Trump and Republicans different than other people? Like, do you understand that if you had integrity and you had an actual standard, principled standard that you could stick to, things sway. So you wouldn't always be in one. Like, do you like? They would never answer. Like, they would just be like,
Not those people. Not those.
Those are the
people,
questions
for sure.
that I actually want to answer. It's like, do you like think about that? It's like, whatever.
I do think I am becoming more and more a believer in the idea that democracies only function when your population is in good faith.
Well, that's true.
Of
course, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, but it feels like something that has to be said out loud, almost.
In this day and age,
so
yes.
Comical.
I know.
We're so comical in this country with our rhetoric. Like, it almost feels like nobody is in good faith, which obviously isn't true. But the loudest voices are never in good faith.
No, they aren't. That's true.
And I don't know if that's, like, it's upsetting that those are the voices that get elevated the most because they're not in good faith.
Yeah.
But that is the heart of our discourse now, and it's so toxic. It is so toxic to the core. And I don't know how we fix that. But, like, democracies work best when people are in good faith. And they're intelligent, or at least
don't even say intelligent. Democracies only work when a strong majority of the people accept that there are differences. If people don't accept that people can just be different and it's fine, you're fucked. You have nothing. You have absolutely nothing. Now, there's obviously levels to it, but if you get to a high enough level of like, oh no, I don't think these people should even exist. They should be jailed or this or that. Like that's the slippery slope you go down. When you say to yourself, it's unacceptable that someone disagrees with me, or I don't accept a certain lifestyle and that should be criminal. Like that is fucked up. That is bad. A democracy cannot survive with that. It cannot. There's no way. I think the reality of how spread out the country is makes it so that it helps democracy survive. The decentralized way that we do our election system still to this day is helping it, but I'm not going to say on thin ice, but it's choppy waters, dude. We're in the boat and it's fucking rocking hard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy, like we doing this? Yeah. So it's just the acceptance of differences. Like too many people, man.
I think the only way the fever breaks, just to bring it all the way back, the only way the fever breaks with the Trump working class appeal is when economically he genuinely, in their eyes, not only is he not delivering anymore, he's being a detriment to their capacity to get from month to month. And it's not going to take long with these tariffs for that to be the case. I can promise you that. And if he starts a war with Iran, I'm going to say this right now. Republicans, including Democrats, obviously, but Republicans will be calling for his head by September. I would put money on that.
It's going to test. What's going to be fun? What's going to be fun about what's happening is it's really going to test the idea that the old school political idea that, like, kitchen table politics, it's the economy, stupid. There's so many different ways to quote it, but the idea that, like, if you really disrupt the flow of quality of life for people, there's no amount of cult that will hold that up. You're going to get burned. Now, we have a rich history of that being correct. But I still even hesitate to say, like, where the line is. We'll have to see. Obviously, if Trump made, like, unemployment shoot up to, like, 20%, he'd be fucking hated. But, like, does that happen? That still has to happen. Not 20%.
I think
but
you can.
Not 20%. That's insane. But
no, not 20%.
I do think that the line is even dude. You don't even have to get anywhere close to
9 to 10%
right.
unemployment rate would definitely sink him.
That's exactly
what
I was going to say. It doesn't even have to.
And
be
I
20.
do think
right.
It's unfortunate the way that money is dispersed in this country. There's a lot of debt leveraged among like middle and lower classes that if you put enough stress on those jobs, you could have a knockdown effect, and that would be really problematic. Right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
If these people can't pay the debt that they're owed or that they owe anymore,
but
default,
we'll have
like,
to.
To me, that's 2008 all over again.
Still, we'll have to see. There's already
it could get
There's already some comments and like deep rumblings that I see after what he's done inside of 2 months already with the markets and with disappearing people and the absolute destruction of freedom of speech. Oof. To where people are already like, oh, like even if we don't even make it to 26, if he gets so bad, like Republicans will 22nd Amendment him or whatever the amendment is, where it's like you're an idiot and
they'll
you're
just
insane.
Impeach him,
or impeach or whatever. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe
they will.
How bad does it have to get,
dude?
Okay, so let's do this real quick before we.
I would put money on that.
We don't have to end necessarily soon, but let's do this real quick. Let me look up SP 500. All right, we're gonna click 6 months. All right, the top of the S&P 500 was 6144. All right, let me break out my calculator. All right, 6144 was the top. Right now we're at 5074. So if I divide that by 6144, the market's already down 17.5% from the top. So how bad does it have to get for that actually be true? Because like, don't you feel a little bit like cautious about saying that Republicans would impeach Trump, which how much they've marched to the beat of his drum? So go ahead, like where does it have to go, and where does that sentiment come from that they would impeach him?
Economically, I don't think they impeach him. I think he starts a war with Iran and they impeach him.
You think so? What? Now I'm worried about a war with Iran. What have I not been paying attention to? What the fuck? Okay. I know he's being an asshole about the Houthis. What a scumbag. But, well,
no,
not that the Houthis are good, but they're doing things for Israel. Sorry, go ahead.
I do think, too, Trump is such a thin-skinned bitch.
Oh, he is.
That he's going to commit to these tariffs. He's not going to walk them back due to his ego, unless he gets a lot of pressure.
True.
He's not going to walk them back.
That's a problem.
It's going to drive the economy into a recession. He's going to get pretty unpopular pretty fast. Then he's going to try and start a war / assassinate terrorist targets as a means of boosting his popularity. And it's going to blow up in his fucking face. Especially with the pressure he's been getting from AIPAC and from Israel to start a war with Iran. That is when he gets impeached. Like, I would bet my left testicle on him getting impeached within 16 months. But we'll see.
I hope you're right. Telling you, man. I think I can, because of what's happened in the last week. And actually, maybe I'm being a little biased. I probably am. I'm very much that the First Amendment will also pressure him, not necessarily with Republicans, but in general, where you're just disappearing people and it's disgusting. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. Like, you're a fucking asshole.
You can't do it.
Like, even if we could get 2 out of every 10
they're not
conservatives
citizens,
who used to be the drumbeat of free speech. All right, dude. They're legal residents. It's disgusting. Anyways,
I know.
I think my point is I do think I am starting to see a possibility of a world where you could get Republicans impeaching Trump because so many things are putting pressure on them. So many. Can't be one. Trump is so powerful, dog. There's no way. And listen, we'll have fun because we should revisit some of these and kind of like compare them to what we'll say in the future because we'll keep doing these and we'll see where it goes and we'll see what the comments are. But yeah, I think it's still hard for me. I still think there's an overwhelming percentage, 90% he wouldn't be impeached. He'll make it to 4 years no matter what he does. But go ahead.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Sure.
Let me ask you this, because the administration has already they are testing the boundaries with how much they're allowed. Like they're
Yes,
allowing
of
themselves
course
to
they
be
are.
directed by the courts.
Mm-hmm.
And those are sort of already playing out towards the Supreme Court. Do you think he just steamrolls through all of that? Like, they are clearly looking for what the limits are. Do you think Trump
I think he
steamrolls through all of that? I
steamrolls
think the
through
people
all of
around
that.
him.
I think he steamrolls through all that for the tariffs because he believes in them because he's an absolute smooth brain. I
Not
don't
even for
know
the
about.
tariffs, the deportations,
I
the
don't
way
know.
he's.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends on how much he actually. And I'm kind of in the camp where I believe he doesn't give a fuck at all. Just wants to golf, and he's outsourcing everything to these Project 25
Yeah,
scumbags.
I
So
kind of buy that
if he's
idea.
kind of enabling them all the way, then
they're gonna test the limits.
they're
and
gonna
he's
test
just
the
gonna
limits. Yeah.
rubber stamp whatever the fuck they put in front of him.
Correct. As long as he can go,
As long as I can go watch live golf, you make the decision. I don't. It's you make great decisions. That's fine.
just like he puts Elon Musk in charge of fucking cutting shit. And every time they ask him about it, he's like, "Well, he's smart." They've kind of gotten a little bit butthole tighty after the Wisconsin loss, but still, I don't think they're like divorcing Elon. But yeah, I mean, he's just
I think they
outsourcing
come
everything.
from- I think the whole MAGA brand, just becomes, like radioactive for most of the country before the next midterm elections. I think he's going to do something profoundly stupid as far as militarily, and it is just not going to work out for
I don't
him.
see it, but I take your
I would
point,
bet
and I
my
really hope you're not
testicle
right.
on that.
I really hope you're not right. Why would he?
Well, we
care?
have to hope. Yeah.
The problem
we have
is,
to hope it doesn't
I was about to
actually
say,
lead
why would he
to a
care about starting a war?
greater
The
conflict.
problem is he knows that sometimes when you strike or start a war, you can get a little boost in popularity,
No,
in like a
That's what
temporary fuck you
Netanyahu's
way.
doing right now.
Right. Yeah, but it's not long term.
Netanyahu has
Because
delayed-
George Bush, after 9/11, got a little boost, but then when he did all the dumbass bullshit, people were
Yeah.
like, this guy's a stupid fuck.
Uh,
Like, this
Well,
isn't what we...
Benjamin Netanyahu has delayed his corruption trial several times because of.
I know. Did that even ever finish? I feel like he was convicted and then
No.
it didn't matter. No,
Delayed.
Okay.
Delayed.
Yep.
Delayed
Because
they're in
he
wartime.
won. He won just
They're in
like
war.
Trump. Trump would have gone on to having more trials, but he won, so it's over.
He
That's how it works.
He actually he lost. So what happened was he lost. Like his party lost the majority,
Yes.
and then
All
a
of a
lot
sudden,
of the cases started to progress against him.
correct. And then he won
And
again.
then the war heated up a little bit, and he won again, and now
Yep.
it's just been delayed and delayed and delayed.
I'm surprised it's not canceled because, like, if he could, he would. You would think, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you saw any of the hands-off protests that were going on this prior Saturday, but it was
I
a
saw
decent turnout.
I saw some posts today.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a big shift towards. I'm telling you, this man's going to become politically toxic within 2 years. I truly, truly believe that.
The only reason I am starting to buy that is because look at the straight line down on the stream. And I think I remember saying this. Do you remember? Maybe I said it to other people too. I remember chilling with my boy. Me and my boy were out at the bar for. You remember the Four Nations thing with hockey? Did you watch that at all? It was pretty cool.
Oh
but
yeah.
We were out on a
That's
Saturday
right.
for one of the games, and I remember telling him, I was like,
Yeah.
look, man, the only way the fever breaks, I know I said this to you too. I said this before this all happened this week. The only way the fever breaks is if he crashes the economy. We've been through too much the last 8 years with Trump being an asshole, a bigot, a dirtbag, a light supporter of white supremacy when he said both sides are equal. We've been through a freaking insurrectionist. We've been through too many things where it's like, unless he crashes the economy, don't talk to me. It's not going to work So here we go. He might do it to himself, which honestly is fucking karma. Somehow karma is working in the way that he is sabotaging himself, because if he just let go of the wheel and said, like, we're not going to do tariffs, but Project 25, do your thing, the fever wouldn't break, right? You would think it wouldn't, right? Do you agree or no?
That's the funny thing too. No, I agree. Once you hit these people economically, that's
Right.
like about at least a third of his very committed base believes he's smart economically. So the second you lose that argument, that's gone up in smoke. They're either not going to vote or they're going to vote Democrat. And both are toxic to your ability to win elections. But, yeah, it's just...
I can't believe people, like, the man bankrupted a casino. Dude, we live in tough times. I'm surrounded by you smooth brains who are going to comment whenever you do watch one of these about how, like, we have TDS or whatever. People are just like sometimes I wish people would think to themselves, oh, it's a mirror. Let me look in it and let me really think about the things that I do, the things that I say, the decisions that I make. Do they make sense? But not everybody ticks like me, where you're trying to make things make sense. You're just like, oh, Trump, and you're just like, well, what about the First Amendment rights he's trampling on? And they're just like, you know what? Fuck you, Trump. And you're like, okay, well, how about this? How about crashing the markets? Trump. It's like, all right, well, I don't.
Trump.
Right, you got it, dude. You got it. That's what it feels like. So, we'll see.
Yeah,
maybe the economy.
There's going to be a squeeze. There's going to be a squeeze.
We'll see. I have to see it to believe it. Is that fair? I have to see it to believe it.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying, if I was a betting man, that's where my money lies.
No question.
And he's going to spend the second 2 years of his term being super lame duck all day.
If you're a student of history, and we both, we're no experts. We just sit here and we just, shove our thumbs up our buttholes and talk to each other. But if you're a student of history, wasn't like there's enough history to show that there have been cultist leaders to more of an extreme than Trump, that if the economy, if opportunity isn't working for that society, it doesn't matter. At that point, it doesn't matter. You really have to make that work or else people will revolt. And
Yeah.
So someone who comes to mind is, I didn't know this. Someone was telling me the other week at work about this because they studied history in college. Julius Caesar was like a general, a Roman general. I didn't know this. Obviously, we all know who Julius.
Podcast.
Oh, were you the one that told me this?
It's me and you, brother. We talked about this last week.
I also brought it up to someone at work without even thinking that you told me it. But you are the one. Holy crap!
From last week.
Oh my God! Look at this guy. Look at this guy. And then, of course, I actually used that in another conversation without even remembering where it came from. Anyways, let's move past the fact that I'm a fucking moron. Yeah, anyways. It just reminds me of that, right? Like, the fact that you brought up that, like, Julius Caesar was a general and then was, like, a popular... He kind of overthrew democracy, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he? No way. That's crazy.
Yes.
So...
Well, he sort of... Yeah. He was received well.
My point is, there have been cultists
the Republic.
or overthrowing of things in the past that have been a bigger, you would think and feel are a bigger, more of a stronger power of cult personality than Trump, not Julius Caesar, I guess, but anytime you don't provide enough opportunity to whatever society you're trying to lead, you're fucked. You're fucked. It's over. It's over. So... I'm with you. I think you're right. I just still have to see it to believe it.
Yeah. I would bet money on that, though, so you feel free.
Last thing before we stop.
Yeah, go ahead.
We looked at the futures. Today is April 6, 2025.
God bless.
We had two bad days on Thursday and Friday for the markets, right? Our boy Nord here just told me earlier that futures look shitty too.
Not great. -2%.
There is a point where there's going to be a bottom. Where is it, you would think, right? Like, does anybody actually do the math on tariffs?
I think there's an expectation of tariffs, and then there will be the reality of tariffs. So,
right, because markets always react first.
Over-responded. They might not have responded.
No, I don't even want to say they're over. That's not my point, though. I'm not saying they're over-responding. What I'm saying is, because you could make an argument that the market is doing the right thing, not just because of tariffs, but because we were the central of trading in globalism. If we're shutting that down, tariffs are a part of things being shitty, but just less wealth for everyone is also going to be a thing, right? So there's many different things that might happen that do justify. And if you look at, dude, the S&P, like, let's do 5 years. Dude, it was at 2789, April 9th, 20. Actually, that's after the COVID crash. Hang on. But I mean, not even that long ago. It's, it's double the end of Trump's term. So it's already a little gassed up, is my point. So maybe it has a long way to go if you argue, tariffs are inflationary. Recession is also going to happen. It's going to be a double whammy. Stagflation.
Stagflation is the worst inflation.
I think that was
the more you know.
in Jimmy Carter's days. But yeah, the more you know.
Yeah, no, it is one of the worst combinations. So you're not. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say in summation, either Nord's right and things melt down, and he
That's
actually,
the end for Trump. That's the end for
it
Trump.
actually kills Trump, or he's Teflon Don. We'll see.
No, you know what it is? It's a combination. It is Trump sucking at the economy and people realizing that he's not a smart businessman. And
Dude,
it's the fact that he's going to start a war with Iran within 16 months.
And I'm not trying to
Those
start
two
this conversation,
things-
but what makes people think he's a great businessman when he bankrupted a casino? And I get it. It's because cult.
Come on.
You can easily answer that by
he
just
was-
saying cult, and I get it. But it's just,
Correct.
it's
Correct.
crazy, man. This is how you know people don't tick with evidence and reason and logic and trying to, like,
Well,
critically think about things. Because if you actually processed everything he's done in life, you would be like, yeah,
Sure.
this kind of doesn't make sense. But instead, you
great.
just, he's just the fucking leader of the counterculture on the right. And because of that, I'm with him. It's like, okay. Like, I'm looking at this live Trump Remarks on Liberation Day's tariffs on the stream right now. And there's a guy in a hard hat with an affliction fucking shirt. It's like, of course, some guy with an affliction shirt with a hard hat would be in the crowd. Like, why is that guy? Anyway, sorry. People would say, oh, fuck you, Cy. It's just working people and they like Trump. It's like, okay, sure. All right. Keep going, smooth brains. All right.